Emails from Afar, a chef's culinary adventure around the world. By Mike Sanders. Chapter 12. The Poop Paparazzi. 12/13, Day 28. A beautiful sunny day is always the perfect setting for a zoo excursion. As Sarah paid the taxi driver the 60 baht, I took a brief scan of the area. The driver had stopped at the edge of a large wooden bridge for pedestrians that led to the main gate. Below ran a small stream, both sides lined with highly manicured 12-foot wide grass banks. The flagstone path along the right wove in and out of life-size topiary animals. Lions, deer, elephants, all silently grazed or lay on the ground as if the jungle had come alive in the form of wild animals from Africa. We had heard that the zoo here in Chiang Mai was in much better condition than the one in Bangkok, and, fortunately for all involved, it was. Much cleaner and definitely more animal-friendly, it was easy to see that a lot of money had been spent on it. Still, not being a fan of zoos, I was reluctant to go. According to the free zoo propaganda, brochure, Thailand received 2 pandas 6 months ago, and they will be the last 2 pandas to ever leave China. The Thai government has spent $2 million on the new panda exhibit, and it's the pride of Chiang Mai. With its state-of-the-art facilities and glassless exhibit, the pandas have become wildly popular here. The price was a little steep for us, around $25 US each, but I figured it may have been the only time I ever get to see a panda, so why not? There was a substantial line to get through because they were only letting 50 or so people in at a time. Once inside, you got 10 minutes of viewing before you were hustled out for the next group. Once we made it inside, the first thing that struck me was that no one was paying any attention to the large signs posted that read, "No flash photo" and "Please keep quiet." People were yelling back and forth as kids screamed wildly for the pandas. The viewing room itself was large. I was shocked to see that there was no glass between us and the habitat. Surprisingly intimate, even with near 50 frantic people, it offered a chance to get very close to the pandas. Off to the left side of the habitat were 2 big pillows, one black and the other one white. The pillows sat on a 3-foot-high cliff that ran the length of the back wall. Down at the other end was a large cargo net, half strung over some boulders, and some logs had been strategically placed near little stands of bamboo here and there. To me, it was quite clear that the zoo was concerned for the animals' well-being, both physical and mental. After 5 or 6 minutes of nothing happening, Sarah and I began to wonder if the pandas were even out for viewing. With most of the signs in Thai, who the hell knows? For all we knew, we could have passed 1,000 signs that said, "The pandas aren't available to view on Tuesdays," or perhaps, "We regret to announce that the pandas ran amok yesterday and killed 54 people, which forced us to bring them down in a hail of bullets. Sorry for the inconvenience." Maybe everyone knew this and it was only Sarah and I that didn't, and we were waiting for something that wasn't going to happen. To combat these overwhelming waves of doubt and confusion, I tried to focus on the positives. I tried to think of how nice it was to waste 10 minutes in a stuffy concrete room whilst jostling around with 50 poorly washed strangers. I told myself I needed to embrace the mounting claustrophobia as a friend and not fight it. At the moment I had resigned myself to the fact that the pandas weren't out today and this was a $25 exercise in patiently waiting, one of the pillows moved. This got the crowd really excited. Flashbulbs pulped and children squealed. We watched with great expectation for the next minute or so, hoping to see something. Anything. As cameras popped wildly, one of the pandas slowly rolled over onto its side, which put his hindquarters front and center to the crowd and hanging off the ledge just a bit. Then, after a few motionless moments, his little tail began to shake and let fly with the largest shit I have ever seen, bar none. The heap by the end was dinosauric in its size and nature, I kid you not. While the panda was giving us his best, an explosion of flashbulbs and screams rose from the crowd like the paparazzi descending on royalty caught in a compromising position. Once finished, the panda rolled back over, gave us a quick glance over his shoulder, and went back to sleep, completely uninterested in anything else. In that brief glance, his eyes told me with lazy indifference, "So, you came to see a panda, eh? Good luck with that." In the last 30 seconds of our time, both pandas got up and started walking around a bit. I bet it was the smell that woke the other one up. Woo! They got within 4 feet of us, which gave us the opportunity to get some great photos. We both felt lucky to get to see a panda so close before they go extinct. When our time was up, we looked at the zoo map and plotted the straightest course for the front gate. Our path took us past a Sumatran rhino, some parrots, a giraffe, a hippo, and one asshole teasing a caged spider monkey with a banana. I could see the poor monkey was just losing his mind with anger as we approached. The guy was doing the here you go, nope, here you go, nope game. As I stared at this spectacle, I hoped and prayed that the enraged monkey would somehow squeeze his way through the bars and pop the guy's jugular open like a soda can. Teasing a captive animal with food. Isn't it enough that we put the poor little fuzzy thing into the equivalent of an animal penitentiary with no chance of parole? He's doomed to a life behind bars whilst committing no crime. Do you really need to make things worse for the monkey fella? And what kind of man are you? Teasing a caged monkey. Very impressive, sir. Do you pick fights with children, too? Seems to me that kind of behavior is the hallmark of a real pussy. The same kind of asshole that beats his wife and kids just so he can make himself feel better about his own shitty self. Teasing a freaking caged monkey. If we'd been back home, I would have knocked the guy's front teeth out. But, seeing as this is a foreign land, and I'm a guest in it, I let it slide. Let's just say the Thais don't have the same attitudes towards nature as I do, and leave it at that. By 2 p.m. it was quite hot, so we headed home. We stopped by a sandwich shop that we ate at yesterday. I was a little hesitant to eat there the first time. The interior had all the trappings of a fast food chain. Menu boards, a giant yellow Formica counter, complete with plastic trays, and 4 cash registers. Much to my surprise, they made a hell of a sandwich. Today, I had 2 focaccia with grilled chicken and melted Swiss. They were a slice of sandwich heaven. Toasty with melted cheese, creamy avocado, juicy tomatoes, and plump grilled chicken breasts on fresh squishy bread. Oh man, it was good. I wish I was eating one right now. After a light dinner of papaya salad and coconut shakes, we wanted to find a place that we could sit soft and cool down for the rest of the evening. We were both lukewarm on the idea of finding a bar to hang out in when Sarah suggested we go see the last installment in the Lord of the Rings series. An air-conditioned theater with big cushy chairs sounded great to me, so we gathered ourselves up and off we went. We were lucky enough to get seats right in the middle of the theater, where the wide walkway splits the theater, giving us endless legroom to stretch out. We settled in and got ourselves ready for the long movie to come. As the lights began to dim, everyone in the room stood up for some reason. Falling into herd mentality, Sarah and I looked at each other and stood up too. The giant screen came to life with a picture of the king, and then a small film glorifying him followed. At the end of it, all the Thai in the audience, which was most of it, erupted in cheering and clapping. Sarah and I were taken aback. We knew the king was loved by the people, but we had no idea it was so strong. Can you imagine something like that happening in America? A short propaganda film for our leader, whoever leader that happens to be at the time, is shown before a movie and the crowd goes wild after it? Not going to happen. We utterly enjoyed every frame, but the biggest surprise of the night came when the lights came back up. As they did, 2 ushers came in through the side door and marched right up to Sarah and I, flashlights still in hand. Feeling a little uneasy, I started racking my mind trying to figure out what we could possibly have done wrong. Did we do something offensive during the king's little thing? We had bowed our heads and clapped afterwards like everyone else. What did we do? A young man, wearing a slight smile across his face, came up to me and handed me a small gold envelope. He went on to explain that the theater had been holding a drawing every night during the opening week of Return of the King, and I was tonight's big winner. I won the Emperor's Package, which includes 2 tickets to any movie, a large popcorn, 2 free drinks, and, best of all, a private viewing room with gigantic reclining chairs. How awesome! I'm the big winner! 12/17, day 32. It's beginning to look a lot like a bad Christmas around here. The clash of the 2 cultures, East with Buddha and West with Santa, makes for one strange brew. The Thai love Western culture, so, as a result, they're twisting it to fit Eastern ideals and make it their own. Some of my favorite examples of this paradigm are the Buddha with the Santa hat on, pizza with dried squid and fish parts, what kind of fish parts though I'm not quite sure yet, potato chips flavored like shrimp or kelp, and the burger joint that sells the cabbage burger. I think the all-time winner so far in the 2 worlds colliding department is the Nam Pla flavored ice cream. No kidding. For those of you who don't know Nam Pla, allow me to explain. Take some kind of fish, like a minnow or a guppy, and pack a clay jar full of them, layering with salt as you go. Bury it in the ground for 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how strong you like your Nam Pla. Strain and reserve the liquid, and you're ready to go. In cooking, or as a condiment, I completely agree with the use of it, and in some cases it's indispensable. But making Nam Pla flavored ice cream? Yuck! Why in God's name would you do something like that? Not for me, thanks, but it's an example of how the Thais mix the 2 cultures together. Thailand is also the capital of misspellings and a dyslexic heaven, of which I am one. I have struggled with dyslexia, specifically the spelling part of it, all of my life. Over the years, I've covered up the occasional blunder with a twist on the old classic, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a chef, not an English teacher." But here in Thailand, there's no need for such social platitudes, as everything spelled in English is fluid and subject to change. I've seen taxi spelled taxi, taxi, and taxi. Some more striking misspellings have been Santa with a C, as in Santa, happy with one P, and my personal favorite, Murray New Year. I think that's Merry New Year. Almost everything in English is misspelled or missing a letter or two. I've seen door signs that read auto, door, please don't push, and a street sign that read eye exams, inquire within. Even the brand new movie Blockbuster we saw just a few days ago was misspelled. The giant marquee on the outside of the building read, "The Retro Run of the King." We ran into a bit of bad luck trying to get to Laos. We had tickets for the bus to Vientiane yesterday, but we're dumbasses in that we can't tell military time. I won't make that mistake again. We were going to get some for tomorrow, but now Sarah's caught a cold, so it may be a few days before we leave. Maybe it was a good thing we missed the bus. Sarah would have come down with her cold on board, and that would have been brutal. I guess everything happens for a reason.